Simon from WhatCulture here, and we are on the road to SummerSlam, which happens this Sunday. What a world we live in. But was the go-home Raw a worthy way to get to the hottest event of the summer? Or was it a wet dud? Based on the article by Scott Carlson, which you can read over on WhatCulture.com right now, it's this week's ups and downs where we look at Raw and judge it or get really proud of it as if we're Raw's parents, which is a perfectly normal and justified thing to do. So let's do it. Let's up 'em and down 'em. Brock Lesnar is amazing. Paul Heyman is amazing. And yes, Heath Slater is amazing. Slater was gold as a man so desperate to get a Raw contract, he was willing to try and defeat Brock Lesnar. Coming across perfectly as the lovable loser, this whole segment was topped off when Lesnar said he didn't give a shit about Slater's kids. Then Heath got absolutely destroyed and it was business as usual for the Beast. It was great stuff. Up. Why in the hell did Titus ONeil and Darren Young team up again on Raw? I mean, if you fell out with your best mate, then you had a big fight and then one of you threatened to punch the other one's kinda dad, would you just come together next week and go, don't worry about it? No, you wouldn't. Except that was the logic gap we just had to accept on this week's Raw when the primetime players got back together to take on the Shining Stars. I mean, it kinda makes sense to extend that feud, even though you knew that Titus would probably turn on Young, but it doesn't make any sense. Furthermore, Young getting pushed into Titus was because of the Shining Stars, so ONeil's reaction was kinda justified. Who am I meant to hate in this feud? It's a down. If you've never watched NXT, you probably have no idea about Finn Balor's Demon King. If you watched Raw last night, you now definitely do. Even though it may have made more sense for WWE to hold off till SummerSlam to reveal this side of Balor, it did a great job in building up the match with Rollins and made him so much more of a credible threat. Seth hunting around the arena all night for him was great too. If nothing else, it's created an environment where you're not too sure what's actually going to happen this Sunday. And the best pro wrestling matches are always the ones when you don't know who's going to win. So you can sit back, enjoy it, and let the pinfall surprise you. Up. Scott and I don't always agree, but as a respectful man, I'm always willing to take a step back, bow to him, and play devil's advocate. So that's what I'll do here. I still enjoy the Nia Jax squash matches. I think they vary the pace on Raw, and it's always nice to see some nobody get their ass kicked with power moves. Scott, however, thinks a little differently. Considering we've seen Nia destroy multiple women over multiple weeks, why not increase the odds a bit and still let her come out on top, like a handicap match? WWE did it with Ryback. Why can't they do it again here? I can buy into that. It makes sense, the challenge rises, but Nia is up to said challenge. So it's a down, but it's a very, very minor down. Is it just me, or can anyone else smell a Dudley Boyz breakup on the horizon after once again, Devon accidentally clocked his brother this week on Raw? Now I love the tag team, but considering they're being used as cannon fodder at the moment week in, week out, a change could be good for them. And if that means Devon becoming the good guy, and Bubba becoming the bad guy, count me in. If you ever saw Bubba Ray on TNA, you know how good that man is at playing a heel, and Devon is an underrated member of the roster. He can more than hold his own. I'm excited to see where this one goes, and it's an up. The Sheamus Cesaro Best of 7 announcement on Raw is one of the strangest and weirdest things to happen in years. Now, I don't hate it. I think the two are going to have some great matches, and if it's done right, Cesaro's going to come out of it looking like an absolute hero. But why is this series happening in the first place? For starters, Cesaro's already beaten Sheamus twice, and secondly, what are they fighting for? Cesaro doesn't need to prove himself. He's already done that. Here's hoping something, anything, is inserted into this before their first match at SummerSlam. It's a down. I'll tell you a really satisfying up from this week's Raw. The crowd really loved Neville. Considering I love Neville too, it made me feel all warm and gooey inside. The man is ridiculously talented and brings something completely new to Monday Night Raw. So keep cheering him and let him know how special he is. With that said, why has WWE brought back Jinder Mahal just to use him as a fall guy? There's an upside to every performer. Doesn't seem very fair to just job him out every week. Granted, it's still very early days, but give him some character and put him in a storyline. I want to care. Make me care. That's a down. The Sami Zayn situation is both an up and a down, but given that he had a match with Sheamus this week, which he won even though Cesaro interfered, let's just call it an up for now. It's all very confusing though. After having the best match at Battleground and a level of fan support that means he deserves a lot more, it's a shame to see him used so sparingly each and every week. Give this man a feud and let him become the lovable underdog we all know he can be. Who doesn't want to see that? I mean, I don't know anyone. Seriously. Last week, I very much enjoyed Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson dressing up and pretending to be doctors. 1 week was enough though. Seeing the two come back in the same skit this week just felt like overkill. The jokes weren't great, and what seemed like a spark of creativity 7 days ago, this week fell flat. Here's hoping it's all building to a title win at SummerSlam, because those two desperately need it, and, to be honest, the New Day could do with a change. Tick the down box. Jericho is the best thing to happen on Raw, potentially in the last 56 years. As the two conducted a backstage interview with Tom, Ted, Brian, Robert, Phillips, Jericho and Owens proved once again that no one is more entertaining on the roster than they are. They continued all this by then running down Enzo and Cass, which was as ludicrous as it was fun to watch. If pro wrestling is all about putting smiles on people's faces, then no one puts a bigger smile on my face than Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. They're masters of their craft and they deserve all our plaudits. It's an up. Let's play a game. Go get a piece of paper and a pen and answer this question. Is Stephanie McMahon a babyface or is Stephanie McMahon a heel? I'm just going to hang around here while you get that and write down your answer. Right, all done? The answer is, there is no answer. Despite being one of the biggest bad guys on the planet only a month ago, now she comes out and she's supporting Mick Foley and she's running down people like Rusev. What? I get that there's got to be some shift as the brand split rolls on, but at least give it some story. At the moment she's just nice again. Because is never a reason. That's a down. Right, yes. It was a bit weird that WWE just gave away Rusev vs Reigns on a free episode of Raw when it is being billed as a marquee match for SummerSlam. However, the match itself was good, Rusev fighting for Lana's honour was stupid in the best way possible, and if Reigns' arm injury carries over into the pay-per-view match, then I'm okay with it. While the main event of Raw these days is in somewhat of a curious spot given the ratings, it made both guys feel like a big deal and put the US title on somewhat of a plinth because it was involved in the headline act. A lot rides on what happens at SummerSlam, but let's be nice, give it an up. So a solid Raw and a decent go-home show for SummerSlam, and I am now intrigued to see what SmackDown does tomorrow night. Maybe Heath Slater walks out during Randy Orton's segment and gets RKO'd to hell. I'd enjoy that. Either way, I think WWE program is quite good right now, even if SummerSlam is 5 hours plus long. No one needs 5 hours plus, WWE. No one. Now go and read Scott's article on WhatCulture.com to get the skinny on Raw, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, then leave a comment below so we know what you thought of Raw. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and today, go out into the world and just smile at somebody and make their day. But don't do it in a creepy way, do it in a nice way, a positive way, a happy way.
Were you one of the unlucky few who couldn't get tickets for July's WCPW tapings? Well, make sure you pick up tickets for August as they're already extremely limited. On August 24th, we'll be presenting a special live pay-per-view quality show, WCPW Stacked, featuring Moose vs Joe Coffey, the debut of the Women's Championship, Will Ospreay vs Marty Scurll. The WCPW Championship will be on the line. There'll be Joe Hendry, Joseph Connors, Big Damo, El Ligero, Primate, Grado, Drew Galloway, EC3, and GM'd by Eric Bischoff. Not just that, but on the 25th, we'll also be holding loaded tapings featuring the Kurt Angle Invitational, a pinfall and submission elimination rumble to decide who gets to face the Olympic hero in October. Grab your tickets for August at wc.pw while you still can. The 2 days are looking absolutely stacked.